Oh, wow. Guess we're just starting because I hit the wrong button. Oh, whatever. Good morning. Bad it starts. Um,
You get it out of the way. That's
yeah, sure, sure. How is everybody this morning?
good. How are
Inter-
you?
in-
Good, good.
introduce yourselves.
Brian?
All right, nailed it. No notes. Uh,
Nailing stuff this morning. Jeez.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired.
yeah, I mean you did walk and then mowed yesterday.
Yeah, I was doing pretty
I
good after that, and then like an hour or so after mowing, I was like, I feel awful today.
I mowed as well yesterday, and it was
It wasn't that hot here. It
hot
wasn't
this
terrible. It
morning.
was actually really nice out. It's just we went for our old man walk crew walk, and then I was
Yeah,
like,
after that, I mean, yeah, it wasn't hot, but I was feeling warm after that, and then
yeah,
I'm like, oh yeah, it's not even 80 degrees out. Why am I this warm? Um, but yeah, I mowed on Thursday, I think. I can't remember when it was, but
I was worried about like the grass getting too high. This is the ultimate old man talk right here. I was worried about the grass getting too high for the mower and everything because it went from like our yard being crunchy to like a lot of grass, and I'm glad I mowed when I did because I just like there's just clumps of mowed grass
Yeah.
in my yard, and I was like, how did this get so high so fast?
we've been getting rain actually.
Yeah, I mean,
But
and it's going to rain today and tomorrow, so I
yeah,
mean,
hopefully no more storms. That one that went through on Friday was wild.
yeah, it was funny because it was like, oh, this isn't that bad, and then all of a sudden, like midway through, I was like, okay, this is an actual storm,
Yeah,
and then it kind of died right off. It was like 15 minutes of really nasty rain, and then it was like, okay, I'm done.
yeah, we didn't. I mean, it feels like it. I think I don't know what the dividing line was or where it stopped, but I mean, there was golf ball sized hail not far from us.
Yeah,
We
I
we
mean,
didn't get it, but
we got tiny bits of hail, but nothing real bad.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind a new roof, but at the same time, I don't want to hassle with that.
Yeah, that's no. Let me tell you, that's no fun. We went through that derecho in 2020, and that was just bonkers. They took down 60% of the canopy here in town.
Oh,
Yikers!
yeah,
All
that's
right.
no fun.
I hope everybody's doing well this morning. It's prep school. Welcome. Let me make this bigger, and then I'll share my screen. Um, I think what I want to start with this morning is something I want to jump back and forth to because I'm a little like reticent to um, stay completely in Old Fay roads. So I kind of want to work a little bit on the possibles this morning.
Okay.
And the way I want to do that is like try to come up with events that not crisis level events, and no like secret, or yeah, not secret war or like Crisis on Infinite Earths, but like more minor events
Hmm.
in comic continuity, and then like try to graft on some interesting concept to it. Um, like the one I could think about, like that kind of popped into my head to start of it was we're just gonna look at the mix and murder world plus escape from New York. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So like taking a comic concept from either Marvel or DC, because it doesn't matter
sure.
since what we're doing, and then trying to find like some type of hook, because it could be like, so the hook I had was like President Steve Rogers has crashed on the island of Manhattan, which is controlled by Arcade, who broadcasts This is Murder World show across the world.
All right, so let's see what else would be.
PCs would be there to rescue the president. I mean, it's nothing like mind-blowingly interesting. I guess I don't know.
I mean, you could. I mean, there's a lot of ground you could cover there. I mean, it's really just about popping the players into a setting and you know.
So I'm looking for like mixes there that would be that you guys or the chat or whoever would be like, okay, this would be fun, or this is an interesting villain plus concept, equaling some type of adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the big. So you're not necessarily looking for mashups of like Marvel plus DC. It's just more like here's a
Could be.
Okay.
Could be. There could be amalgam stuff.
Right.
For sure. I just the idea too is the PCs are established heroes
Yes.
from their respective continuities, but have been called out as that continuity has been erased by editorial mandate to save their continuity. They are tasked with how do you put this, with fulfilling the missions given to them by Access.
All right. For something like this, I think it could be fun to do. I don't know if you did you read fuck, what the hell was it called? Why am I blanking on this? I'm gonna have to look it up. Why am I blanking on that?
So I'm thinking of like, I'm throwing a list down here of like things I want to draw from. Millennium was the one with the Manhunters, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like I like the idea of someone going, "Oh, I am Harry Osborn from Earth, blah 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 blah. I became the Goblin Spider.
Yeah.
I was bitten by a radioactive spider, but that was infected with my father's goblin formula."
Sure. There was that bit in Next Wave where the team essentially gets blasted by Forbish Man into like those weird like alternate takes on their histories. So Elsa Bloodstone's thing is like super Hellboy inspired.
Oh yeah. That was super cool. Did you see the panels from the upcoming Werewolf by Night comic?
No, I didn't.
It's the panels. They didn't really show much. It's just like no dialogue or anything.
Yeah,
But it's Elsa landing in this place where Werewolf by Night is, and they literally run around corner and almost smack into each other. And the art's great. It's like got a very fun cartoonish feel to it that fits very much.
it's interesting. It took them this long to cash in on that.
Yeah, it very much so has that Stuart Immonen.
And then
Yeah, like very stylized, expressive, cartoony feeling that I really, really enjoy, which I think fits Elsa Bloodstone so well. But Werewolf by Night's face is just hilarious, and it's like,
so yeah, I don't know what you would call that, but there was also there's the bit in, not to set you off or anything, but in Alan Moore's Supreme with the place where all the like rebooted, like when a character gets rebooted, the previous version of them just goes to this other place and lives there.
I want to use I want to use that idea.
Or DC's Limbo.
I love that idea. So we need a name for this place.
Or Grant Morrison's Limbo, I guess. He was the one who introduced the
Oh wow, are you saying Alan Moore borrowed from Grant Morrison? There's a shock.
Well, I mean, the idea of,
I'm joking.
Yeah.
So like what would be a place where, because Dr. 13 touched upon this as well.
Yeah.
And I loved that miniseries.
I mean, and then Marvel has the House of Ideas now.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. Is that it? That's the Al Ewing thing, isn't it?
And he brought it. I think he was the one who introduced it, but it was part of a Avengers mini that it was kind of a round robin sort of writing deal.
So it was like a challenge thing, like DC.
Sort of, or they worked on it together. I can't remember who all was on it, but that was where that was introduced, and then he's used it a few times since.
So what is a concept DC would have similar to that? We'll just mash them together.
I mean, DC has, there's Limbo. There's the.
What if we just called it the house that Jack built?
I'm trying to remember where. Let's see here. Comics. Let's see here. Okay, so Limbo is also the ghost zone in DC, which is where Prometheus has his
the ghost his special house.
Yeah. So I think that would probably be
Shaggy. Who wants to look at our faces? We should always be a podcast. I've got a face only a podcast could love.
Because I'm trying to remember where like the House of Mystery is in like Kentucky.
Yeah.
But where like and the Endless each have their own realms, don't they?
Yes. Marvel, you said it has the House of Ideas.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up what the deal is with that.
I like the idea of there being like someone who is pulling characters out who are like been eliminated from continuity, and they are being like marshaled to cause problems for the Possibles. But it's instead of the editors, it's like something else.
Oh, okay. So I forgot about that. The House of Ideas actually was in Wade and Wieringo's Fantastic Four when the Thing died,
and Jack Kirby was God, as it should be.
Yep. So that was that was the first time it showed up. They went in there.
Pass one, pass on. There they meet the one above all, aka Jack Kirby.
Yeah, so this in Marvel and stuff, everything exists beyond. Everything that exists out there is the mystery, which includes the beyond, the white hot room, the lands of couldn't be, shouldn't be, and the house of ideas, and everything else because it's infinite. So.
Oh, Prometheus, where it's the crooked house. That's right.
Yes.
Oh. A magical house in Kentucky. This is where Cain and Abel live, right?
Yeah, there's the House of Mysteries and the House of. Because they've each got their own house and they're like in the same spot. Let's see here.
No, not the one Billy Gunn.
The House of Secrets and the House of Mystery. And I think they like live down the street from each other.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the Nexus of Worlds.
Yeah. And
which is in Florida, right?
One of the main places for it, yes.
Florida. Okay, we gotta. Yes. I like this idea. I also want to. I got to put this down in my notes to this concept of.
Okay, so House of Secrets is in Vermont.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
Do you know which one? Who lives where?
I kind of remember which one is which.
I can't remember. I don't know those characters as well as I would like.
Cain is in the House of Mystery.
That's in Kentucky.
Yes, and Abel is House of Secrets in Vermont, which is where the Secret Six hung out for a while.
I knew that. I remember that. I believe House of Mystery is also John Constantine has used it off and on.
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna put down here ideas.
Yeah, I would have to read through the amalgam books again to
a group of characters that have been eliminated currently from continuity are brought together by a force in opposition to the editors and tasked with their own fixes. This brings them into conflict with the possibles potentially. Because I really, really, really like that Doctor 13 thing. Like we're seeing these characters getting pruned out of continuity, basically, and that's kind of where we stole the editor's idea from. They weren't called the editors in that; they were called something else.
Yeah, I'm trying
to. They were called the architects.
Yes, that's right. And that was,
they all were wearing the masks of the characters they were currently writing.
Yes. So I like the idea of taking some of that metafictional stuff and incorporating it because, yeah.
Well, I do, because that's some Grant Morrison multiversity shit.
Right. So
we're do not read this comic; it will destroy you.
DC called them the architects. And Marvel has the Young Guns program, which is like the next generation of artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they've got anything for writers.
I think that's what we just called it, the editors.
Well, right, but I like the idea of those actually being like, if that's like, if you wanted to get real crazy with it, as far as like, here are these other forces being, so they like the editors or whoever might send in the Young Guns as like an opposing force to stop, like they could be like recurring.
Well, my idea with like something like the Fixes is like they're being brought in by possibly even members of the editors, like secretly.
Yeah.
That the editors, while they sit, hey, Super Spike, while they sit, in this house of ideas, so to speak, together, doesn't necessarily mean they have an agreement on continuity. And yeah, I want the whole thing to be meta-contextual.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of like the idea of the editors being able to send in like characters who maybe are, writers or artists as,
enforcers.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so yes, Marvel also has the Stormbreakers. Yeah, there's the Stormbreakers and the Young Guns. I don't know if there's.
Those are like 90s failed team names.
Yeah,
Rob Liefeld did not get too fast enough to
I don't.
TM.
I don't think that's a bad way to go.
Well, I do want to have like an evil like Rob Liefeld, because he's
he's Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't remember if DC has done something like that, but I mean, they probably have.
Okay.
Yeah, so what else? There's for big crossovers. What was that one? Was it I know DC had War of the Gods, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. Legends.
That was the Byrne one that came right out of
Crisis.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
And then Invasion. The big Eclipso crossover.
Yeah, so I definitely want to do like I'll get to that in a second. Legends, what'd you say? After
Invasion.
Legends? That's where like all the spacefaring evil races invade Earth, right?
Yep.
So I wanted to do
DC, or not, which Marvel had sort of a version of with Maximum Security.
Maximum Invasion. So tell me what you think of this.
Security was fun in that it just didn't. With like a lot of that stuff, it just didn't go on long enough. I don't feel like, because that was like, okay, we don't like heroes, or we don't like Earth, so we're going to turn Earth into prison. So it's essentially Earth as Escape from New York.
So what do you think of Eclipso and I Am Legend?
Oh,
so the idea is Eclipso won.
Sure. And
most of
Eclipso.
The DC Prime characters are infected, as well as the majority of the populace. But they cannot function in the sunlight, so are forced to hide during the day. The PCs would be there to... Who's a character from Starman was something that was like big part of that Eclipso story.
Oh yeah, the third Starman?
Yeah. What the third character has to do with light? Oh, Dr. Light.
Yeah. Or the Ray. I did always like that Christopher Priest Joe Quesada Ray run.
In order
Halo from the Outsiders
to kickstart a retaking of Earth.
You could throw Light Ray in there if you wanted from the New Gods.
Yeah, he wouldn't be on Earth at this point.
Yeah.
Who was this third person you said before Light Ray? Halo.
Halo, yeah. I think she's got light powers.
I believe she does.
Maybe she has emotional powers. I can't remember.
No, I believe Halo has light-based power. It may be based on emotional spectrum, though.
Let's see here. Sphere, iridescent light, blah, 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 blah. Halo die, blah, blah. Powers and abilities. Create auras with the 7 known rainbow colors about herself, which called halos, which have different effects. So yeah, they're light powers, but they're a little bit different. I
like the idea that they get to choose.
Yeah. Argent, I think, had some light powers, maybe.
I don't think I know who Argent is.
Oh no, she can create energy constructs out of plasma. All right, never mind.
Plasma's bright.
Yeah, I believe though that it required that Eclipso's shit. You need like sunlight.
Yeah.
Of some type to counteract his gem. So I'm trying to think of anyone else who can make sunlight or who can affect. Like Captain Atom can't make sunlight, but he can basically be a giant nuclear bomb.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dr. Light, the Ray. So this is just a crap list. Oh, yeah, Apollo.
Oh, from the Authority?
The Authority, yeah. There's probably more, but that seems like a pretty solid list.
Is that too much?
No.
Matt.
I don't think so. No.
Would that be interesting though?
It could be. I mean, it opens up the. I mean, that was basically what the story was.
Yeah.
And I love Master Pandemonium.
I do too.
He's great. So you'd be up against Vision and Scarlet Witch. That's
I was gonna say in a what the hell was the world where Wanda did the whole
House M?
Yeah.
That would be rough.
Oh yeah, I mean this is not an easy mission.
No. Yeah, let's see here. Looking at yeah, so Underworld Unleashed was across.
I love Underworld Unleashed.
And I don't think Bloodlines was super well received, but there's potential there.
Bloodlines is one I'm not as familiar with.
It was in the annuals. It was alien parasites, and I think mostly they killed people, but
they give some people superpowers.
Yes,
because that's where we get like what's the Garth and his character?
That's Hitman. Yeah, Hitman's out of that. Yeah, you could do. I mean, there's Final Night.
Sun goes out, right?
Yep.
It's sad because like I'm looking at the Marvel ones on here and going, God, they're so much more interesting to me than just Acts of Vengeance and World War Hulk. I'm like, oh
yeah, Acts of Vengeance is great.
Acts of Vengeance is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, and Inferno.
Inferno.
I loved Inferno and how it all, impacted all the books.
Well, I mean, and some of these can be like where these events were the catalyst for what they have to go in and fix, kind of like we were doing with like this one or even this one.
Well, yeah, that what if where the X-Men lost Inferno and you get that panel.
Yeah, you get Wolverine with the full black mask.
Yes, and he eats a baby.
Yeah, he eats a baby. Wolverine eat baby. So it just might as well put What If in here.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the finale of Onslaught is, / Heroes Reborn. There could be your Leafield.
I was thinking Leafield being like its own thing.
Well, maybe that's how he gets in. Like,
because
that was where it's like, oh, now he's in charge of Captain America and the Avengers, and they fucking suck.
Giant titties, Captain America.
Yeah.
I love my MC2.
Annihilation.
Yeah. But we're some good DC ones, though. There's good DC events out there that aren't just Crisis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been giving you some, but
I'm trying to think of smaller ones, though.
Okay.
That aren't like so like.
Yeah.
But that aren't like completely Batman or Superman centric.
Well,
which is real hard.
The list gets shorter.
Like Flash had some, especially like during, was it Wade's run right after Crisis where Wally became the Flash?
Wade was on it yet, but eventually.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on there, and of course, Johns' entire run of the Flash is really good.
Yeah. I mean, Cataclysm.
Cataclysm.
That was where the earthquake in Gotham. And then
yeah, that was like the 3 years where Gotham had a plague, earthquake.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if the the results of it were that great, but it's an interesting concept with the Joker Last Laugh crossover.
I don't recall that one.
The Joker finds out he is suffering from a terminal brain tumor, and then uses his Joker venom to Jokerize a bunch of other inmates in the slab, which is where he's imprisoned at the time. So they all break out, and so it's kind of like Acts of Vengeance, but also with a bunch of supervillain Jokers just going around doing stuff, crazy supervillain things. And then in the end, it turns out that he didn't actually have a brain tumor; it was just the doctor at the slab playing a joke on him. Yeah, and they're like, well, that was dumb of you.
So also, like, I'm going to put this in the chat. I'm also looking at this page because there's some interesting stuff here to mine.
Amazon's Attack.
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting one. Because it's like, oh, Wonder Woman kills Maxwell Lord, so she gets imprisoned, and the Amazons are like, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah. Any of the stuff with the Crime Syndicate Earth villains?
Oh, I love the Crime Syndicate.
There was. Have you read Trinity?
Trinity. I don't think I did read Trinity.
Okay, it was a maxi series because they did the 52 thing where it was like, oh, here's a weekly series, and then the DC decided to do a weekly series for a while after that.
They did another one where it was like every page was a different comic.
Yeah.
Had it like Neil Gaiman did an Element Girl.
Yeah, it was like Wednesday Comics or something like that. Yeah. But no, this was a weekly thing, and it was so Trinity was. I'll give you the trades. It's Kurt Busiek.
Oh wow, okay.
And it deals
based upon that. I'm going to put it down.
It deals with a bunch of Earth 3 stuff.
I love Earth 3. I really do.
And it's solid. And it's because it's Busiek. It's like, oh yeah, here's this Clarion the Witch Boy / demon character, and here's this character, and like he's just pulling stuff out. And Mark Bagley and Scott McDaniel do most of the art.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's solid. I'll grab those trades for you. I don't know. The new Krypton thing was interesting. All the Kryptonians are back or whatever and live on Earth now. I don't know what you do with that, but
I have to go in and kill Zod, who's President Zod or Dictator Zod. Put them all in the. You could use it like Ghostbusters. They have to put all the Kryptonians in the Phantom Zone. We're gonna do that. Plus Ghostbusters. Kryptonians have taken
a lot of the recent
Earth
DC
and in turn gone mad. The PCs must use stolen Phantom Zone projector, spell correctly, packs to send as many into the Phantom Zone as possible, but especially, is it Urza? Who are the 3 Phantom Zone villains?
Zod, Ursa, and Non.
Ursa. Is it Urza or Urza?
I think it's just Ursa, like bear.
Non and Zod. Okay.
What else?
Days Future Past.
I mean, when you get into like the stuff with the various Batman stories, where it's like, oh, here's all of my stuff on how to take out all the heroes.
Oh, Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel, or it was also War Games, which was which was the same thing, but basically just Gotham focused. Where that was where Stephanie Brown got killed. She found Batman's like file to like take all this stuff out, like to take out all the villains, and she's like, I want to prove myself.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. What was the story behind the War of Jokes and Riddles?
That was a retroactive continuity sort of deal with Riddler and the Joker basically just going to war against each other, and they each kind of recruit their own teams of Batman villains. And
so what if we did that and it was based on the Warriors?
Oh, that could be cool.
Like the PCs have to infiltrate one of the gangs. The war jokes,
or you do it like
riddles plus.
Maybe not the war. If you did it like God damn it! Why am I blanking on the name of this movie?
Brian, I'm so sorry. Like,
you're good. You're good.
We're going so knee deep in weird comic stuff.
You're good. It's been ages since I've read any comics, so.
Yeah. If you went like Yojimbo style with it.
Oh, okay, like yeah.
Where it's
the man with no name type of thing.
Yeah, you're trying to play the two gangs against each other that have taken over this town.
I also like the idea of the PCs being able to like make new characters like with the same power set every time. Like, oh, I'm going to this world. I won't be Harry Osborn, Goblin Spider. Instead I'm going to be this thing. So they can make a new identity.
Right.
Because someone could be a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And say, oh, well, there's no Green Lanterns here, so. Or there are Green Lanterns here. I want to hide what I am. How about okay, so the story where the Squadron's world dies.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Plus, what's a world-ending story? Like, I'm using movies just because it's easy to draw from. Like, I'm just using these as like elevator pitches.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, what if it was like Annihilation? Because it's a white event, right? Kind of. It like everything whites out.
Well, the white event was
no, that's the new universe.
Yeah. But
was it Dr. Henry Leitner or whatever?
Yeah.
Deceased.
Well, that was a weird one. Yeah. Actually, as much as I didn't like love it, there's Blackest Night.
You didn't like Blackest Night?
Not a ton. I don't know. I've soured on Johns a lot.
Well, I mean, come on. He did it to himself.
Mm-hmm. The recent thing he did though with the Lost Children, or whatever the hell they called it, the Stargirl miniseries.
Oh, with all the sidekicks that were lost in continuity.
Yeah, I mean retroactive continuity, and apparently Marvel's doing a similar thing coming up here. We'll see how that goes.
Big shock.
But it was kind of interesting. Like, yeah, here's all these characters that used to exist, and they got kidnapped, and now they're. And when they got kidnapped, they ceased to, exist in.
I even like the idea that like Green Lantern had a communist enemy named Red Lantern.
Yes.
That was just lost in continuity and is now returned to continuity. The Golden Age Green Lantern had this Red Lantern, like basically evil version of him.
Yeah, what would be? I haven't watched enough like apocalypse films.
We can always come back. I just like the idea of that squadron. I like the whole like the squad. It doesn't even have to be the Squadron Supreme, that part of the story. It could just be when the squadron take over the New World Order arc. Where they're just like, to save the world, we literally have to take control of the world.
Right.
Which has been riffed on since that, like over and over and over again. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Or Indiana Jones, I guess.
So I like the idea of it just clicked with me when we were talking about this apocalypse thing, which is where a lot of these kind of go. But if you imagine Inferno, and the world just stays that way, so people are starting to adapt to it. So you almost get like an Inferno plus like Mad Max.
That's perfect.
Sort of deal where it's like, oh yeah, like this is a demon possessed mailbox that just lives down the street from me, and I ride to work on a demon worm subway train.
But so that's like the setting, but what would the hook for the story be?
Well, so you got Goblin Queen and Sim. I'm trying to remember what the okay, so Astra. All right, so part of Inferno is when Cable got sent to the future as a baby. So what if in this?
I thought that had more to do with the Phalanx, but
no, that was actually Inferno.
Wow. Okay.
Because that was with the transmode virus and everything.
That's why I got it confused.
Yeah. I'm just gonna double check this to make sure I'm not completely off. Yeah, I think they have to send him to the future because he gets infected. I gotta look this up. Probably shouldn't dive into Cable's history, but
I mean, we just have to touch upon it.
yeah.
Oh, Super Spike, be careful out there. We were just talking earlier about, before anybody got here, about how we're all old people because of our mowing talk. So be real careful. That's no joke. Like, heat will mess you up. Yes. Rick.
Okay, so
Also, you know what? You know who else can get the Bozak? And you ask what's the Bozak, and I tell you it's Dick and Nutsack. Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon, fuck off to the nth degree. And if you write an article about Chuck Dixon and you use the word woke in that article, you can fuck right off too. That's like the worst plague that's been unleashed upon us of late, is articles using that. Don't even give right-wing people the time of day with that. Just be like, oh, so you know what that word means? And when they go, well, I think it means that, it doesn't fucking mean that, so shut the fuck up. Stop using it. It's a straw man argument, and you're useless for using it. Also, fuck you, Ric Flair. Taking Woo back 2023. Woo.
All right, I'm just trying to figure this out here.
I also want to do like a courtroom thing with the trial of the Flash. Does anyone remember that story? Oh, look, there's a doggo. Hi, doggo. I love how it's just sitting there like it's enjoying the conversation. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened on this stupid Sunday morning show we do.
Okay.
The dog's like, I got all kinds of answers. You just have to listen. What's the dog's name, Brian?
Monk.
Monk. Hi, Monk.
Okay, so yeah, they were going to sacrifice Cable or Nathan, but didn't.
Stay hydrated, Super Spike.
I'm secretly a druid. That's my animal form.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's still owlbear, but it's beautiful. Also, Colin didn't show up today, and I think I know why. Because I was going to publicly call him to the carpet about his complaints about the D&D movie. Anyway, so Trial of the Flash. Does anyone remember this besides me?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Where Barry is on trial for like 2 fucking years for killing Zoom, or killing Reverse Flash, not Zoom, because Zoom's someone different. I like the idea where of where the PCs have to gather evidence. Possibly. Does that make any sense?
sorry.
I'm just like,
I'm deep in Inferno bullshit on the internet here. Yeah. I'm thinking for the Inferno one, it might be like, well, that's good. Yeah, Trial of Flash is great. And he was like, I deserve to, be tried for this. I did a thing. And then he did end up getting acquitted, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe he changed his identity for a while.
He went to the future for a while, I think. Lived there. Yeah, for the Inferno one, I'm almost thinking like it should be because Inferno, didn't get stopped. Now you've got like this version of Cable, not Cable, I guess, Nathan Summers, who's it's in the future, or down the road. So I'm trying to think if it's like the world is actually functioning this way, and they're trying to stop it from getting reverted. So maybe Cable is the villain. Like he got sent into the future, and now he's back to try and change it. But that's the way this reality is supposed to be.
Yeah, I love that idea.
So yeah, if you wanted to do it as like a Fury Road style chase thing, maybe they're trying to keep something away from him.
I like the idea of like that like Cable thinks he's the good guy. Maybe like his thing will cause like untold death.
Yeah, I mean, if it'd be like if now the world is adapted to this.
Yes.
It's using that stuff. So if you were to suddenly go in and eliminate all these demons, it would be like if you made it like if you just launched off like an EMP in today's world. Like planes are going to crash, cars are going to crash.
Yeah.
Like you can't just pull all the demons out of the world without.
Super Spike, that's fair.
I mean, he could do that.
It was not the plot, actually, Super Spike. Barry kills Thawne.
Yes.
He breaks his neck. Thawne's about to kill Iris, and he's like gonna kill her.
Yeah.
And Barry just like, I can't stop you unless I kill you. So he just breaks Thawne's neck.
But that was also Thawne's plan, I think?
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna force you to do the thing you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I win. I win either way. If you don't stop me, I kill Iris, which ruins you. If you kill me to stop me, I ruin you.
You're a murderer, yeah.
So Barry kills him, and then Barry turns himself in. Is that's from either the late 70s or early 80s, right?
I think it's early 80s because after that they went into Crisis.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really good story. But you're right. Yeah, Barry ends up going to the future basically after he's acquitted, because that's where he's pulled from in Crisis. Is he's living in the future because he's basically like, I can't be the Flash anymore. I murdered a guy.
He goes to live in the future with Iris, and they have their kids and all that stuff, and
which makes his death in Crisis even more kind of awful.
Yeah,
is that he kind of finds happiness.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of the most interesting moments I think in all of DC history. It is in Crisis, the two big deaths, Supergirl and Barry Allen. Because they both have like weight and meaning. Barry saves fucking everything because he runs himself to death. And the imagery by Perez is just...
Yeah.
I mean, you're watching a guy who literally is like, I have to keep running as he's turning into a fucking skeleton and then turning into dust. It's... Yeah. I still think, this is the thing, I still think Crisis on Infinite Earths holds up as one of the greatest single cosmic crossover events in the history of comic books. I think
because it set it created it.
Yeah, well, and I love like that, Earth 2 Superman or Superboy, they basically realize they have to kind of sacrifice themselves for whatever comes next. And they go and they basically live in this pocket dimension. It's really sad.
It is. It hits well. I mean,
yeah, it hits hard, hits well. It's really, really good. So anyway, let's try to squeeze, like we barely touched upon Take Me Home, Old Faye Road. So let's do that really quick.
Actually, Danny and I are gonna go see a movie. So
what are you gonna go see, Matt?
We're gonna go see Barbie.
Ooh, are you gonna do the whole Barbenheimer?
No, I don't.
Which now that I hear the name Barbenheimer, I feel like that should be a wrestling hold. Oh God, he hit him with the Barbenheimer.
It's locked in.
Locked in tight.
Locked in the Barbenheimer.
No one escapes the Barbenheimer. All right. Well, have fun. Enjoy the flick.
I shall. Good to see everybody. This will hopefully give Brian a chance to feel like he's contributing. But good to see you all.
We will not have railroaded him out of the conversation.
Shaggy, Super Spike, Good to catch you guys. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes. By the way, I love this panel. Oh, I just realized you're Hercules. You basically raped my mom. I'm gonna break your fucking neck.
Yep. Hercules is not friend to the Amazons.
No.
Yeah, that series is so great.
It is. This is something was in my comics that I left. That I sold to Colin, and I want to buy the big trade, but it's like $100 and some.
Yeah, because the rights are hard to work out, so they weren't able to really like. There was a brief thing after Perez passed.
Yeah. No, I love all the Cap and Batman stuff. It's funny that they're the two heroes that kind of most get along.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, it's because they've lost the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. That's always such a good series.
It really is.
And I'm going to throw one more thing out here, then I'm going to head out. Have you read Twilight?
The books?
Prestige. Oh, sorry, the DC Prestige format miniseries.
I don't think I have.
Okay, it's Howard Chaykin writing it, so it's a Chaykin story. But all of the art is Jose Garcia Lopez.
Okay, who's great.
Lopez. So it looks phenomenal, and it's Chaykin taking all of DC's like space characters and kind of putting them into one story. So it's like Space Cabbie and the
it sounds like very Jim Starlin-esque type of stuff.
It's interesting. The Star Rovers and Manhunter 2070 and
you know what else would be good? Kirby's OMAC and Mandy.
Yes. Oh yes.
I love both of those.
Yeah. The OMAC world is so crazy.
I think those two worlds intersect now.
They do. I think they technically take place at different times, but they're
hello, Kren.
They're all part of the same.
By the way, I love the end of your name. Star Smasher is such a great name.
Yes.
Which would lead me to what was the name of the big event? Time runs out, isn't it? That's the big Avengers thing with greatest writer alive, Jonathan Hickman. Facetiously, he said.
There's also all the Avengers stuff with the Crossing, which involves a lot of alternate reality Avengers and shit like that. So, and that's where we get Teen Tony. All right, now that I've all made you think about.
Now that you've left me with that, you son of a
Teen Tony Stark. Goodbye.
You son of a Matt. Enjoy Barbie. What a bastard. All right, let's do some Old Fay Roads for about 30 minutes, and then we'll call it. I think we got a lot here, and I want to keep this mixed format, and I'll probably throw it into our little group chat. Jupiter's Legacy. Friend, you'll have to give me more because I'm not sure I know that one. Also, I want to do something with the Legion, and there's a story that Keith Geffen did. Real quick, I want to just write it down. It's the one where Darkseid comes back during the time of the Legion of Superheroes, but I can't remember what it's called. There's a name for it because they don't know it's him first because they think he's like the Great Darkness Saga. They basically in the 30th century, he's kind of like the boogeyman. I think that also has to do with like the whatever Mon-El's race is, the Daxamites, who are basically Kryptonians, except for they don't have kryptonite. They can't deal with lead.
Yep.
I think they might worship Darkseid at this point. I can't remember. There's a bunch of stuff to that story, but it's like considered by a lot of people the Legion story. Anyway, take me Old Fay Roads. We are using stuff. Like I said, I feel like this is the stuff I took from Iron Halberd that I want to use, which is like the durability that your weapons can break down, and then you have to repair them because I want crafting to be a big like part of things.
Right.
So you have to like get actual objects to continue to keep your armor and your weapons up after they break down.
Materials.
Yeah, materials are important. Oh, so critical misses cause damage to your weapon, which I think also adds an interesting component to actually critical misses. Downtime, like you can, and this is very much Blades in the Dark. In Blades in the Dark, you have like 2 downtime actions that you can spend.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like saying, hey, downtime events, you can do it for crafting, or I'm not sure I'm going to keep camp and cooking. I don't know about this stuff because I always feel like that's like but also I like the idea because if anyone's played the Pathfinder, I'm going to pull up my stupid Steam. Oh, not a Kingmaker, not Wrath the Righteous. So I can't remember who made this game. If it's like Owl something, I think. Owlcat Games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked it's got a mixed I really think this is a great game. But like when your group's doing stuff and it's downtime, like setting up camp, you only have so many actions. And you have to like distribute them to the people in your group. Because like you have somebody who might be really good at hunting. So you're like, I need you to go hunt because we need to eat. You might have somebody who's really good at cooking, but they also might be really good at like hiding your camp. So you have to kind of try to figure out what they do. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for the Possibles, we're trying to stay within Marvel and DC continuity, but there is this Jupiter's Legacy takes a lot from DC's Golden Age to Silver Age to Modern Age transition. So yeah, I can see that. In fact, because you brought that up, I want to use 2 JSA stories. One is what it was called? Whatever happened to the JSA? Is that what it was? No, that was 0 Hour. One would be the Death of Earth 2 Batman. That's a huge murder mystery, and then the U.S. government puts the JSA on trial. The other one would be The Last Days of the Justice Society of America story, where the JSA managed to stop Hitler from using the Spear of Destiny, and it transports them into Ragnarok, where they die over and over and over again fighting Ragnarok. But they're fine doing it because like that stops World War II from the Nazis winning.
Yep.
And that's why I think that's what they used to write them off post-crisis. I had that comic. It's just a one shot. And it's really great. And as a huge lover of the JSA, I really enjoy that story. I'm trying to remember what the hell the Batman story was known as. It was pre-crisis, I believe. Pre-crisis. Batman of Earth to Murder. because that story had a lot to do with like the Huntress becoming a bigger deal, and the fact that like Dick Grayson or Helena Wayne, who is Earth 2 Huntress, is the daughter of Catwoman and Batman, and Robin is like the primary witness for the prosecution in that story. And so it puts him and Helena at odds, even though they're basically siblings. And the JSA gets put on trial because someone finds Batman's diary, and he basically talks about how the JSA are communist sympathizers. And it's all a lie. It's all meant to implicate the JSA in this thing and have them drugged before the federal government and basically forced to disband. It's kind of like what happened in the actual continuity, where the HUAC committee demands the House of Un-American Activities Committee drags the JSA, war heroes, in front of Joe McCarthy and says, take off your masks or you're communists. And the JSA go, and they just stop being superheroes. And then that leads us eventually, like 5 years later, into the Silver Age. There's a great story. Actually, we'll just use Robinson's Golden Age comic miniseries, which is what is the story that comes out of that, where it's an Elseworld, but it's where Hitler's brain is kept alive by the Ultra Humanite. It's put then into a superpowered being. So Hitler is basically pretending to be like a superhero in the United States. And then what the hero who was aware of this, who was trying to kill him at the end of the Second World War, is hurt very badly and can't remember, but he's having all these flashbacks. And eventually he comes to the JSA, people he trusts, and says, this person is fucking Adolf Hitler. And they're like, because he takes it to kind of like the more minor Mystery Men-esque characters, they're like, there's no way we can do anything about this. Like, he will kill us. So they have to go convince some of these other characters, like, help us. And they, one of them is the Atom, the Golden Age Atom, who believes in this other character who's lying to him, who's Hitler.
Jeez.
It's really good. Golden Age is a great miniseries, and you can get it in a collective volume. That's how I have it. The art's fantastic. It's probably, in my opinion, the best thing James Robinson wrote while at DC. I think it's better than his Starman run, which is excellent. But at the end, the JSA still stop being superheroes because they're like the American, un-American, the House, the HUAC committee. I can never say it all right. Basically, still want them to unmask. And it has a lot to do with like Alan Scott, the Golden Age Green Lantern, is like an executive at like a media company.
Right.
And he's, trying to expose Joe McCarthy. And Joe McCarthy's trying to expose him. And later on, because it's sort of alluded to here, but never spelled out, later on, DC said, Alan Scott's always been a gay man, a closeted gay man. Which would have made that story, even if they would have been overt with that, would have made it make even more resonance.
Right.
Because that's another group that Joe McCarthy was trying to out the entire time. And he's kind of like, I'm a Green Lantern, I can do all these things, but the one thing I can't do is like fight public opinion. I can't make a construct that changes public opinion. It's very much a grounded type of story. And it's really good. It's disturbing as fuck. And the fight at the end is amazing because this super character that is Hitler is more powerful than all these other characters. And he is literally kicking the shit out of them in front of the National Mall. And like, they can't beat him. Like, and then they end up in a very slick way getting him. But also has a lot to do with, there's a whole subsection about the silver or the Golden Age Starman who helped create the atom bomb with Oppenheimer. which is part of DC continuity, and he puts himself in an insane asylum because he can't live with the guilt that he's partially responsible for the death of all these people, because he's kind of like, I'm a superhero, and yet I participated in what ended up murdering all these non-combatants.
Right.
It's, like I said, it's amazing. Has a lot to do with Johnny Quick, a lot to do with Liberty Bell and their failed marriage as well. It's great. It's really, really good. Anyway, I'll try to find my trade of that Batman story, because again, it's got a lot of DNA that I think Alan Moore, big shock, took from for Rorschach. The fact that Batman was keeping this journal about all the other JSA members, and that someone abuses that journal and basically drives Batman paranoid before his death. The JSA are out to get him. It's really good. Anyway, take me home, Old Fay Road. The crafting stuff, I feel like, is pretty much where it's going to be until we play, and then I'm going to want feedback on it. It's a lot of roles and stuff, which I like.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of going through and like finding like syntax and spelling and just overall errors that I have in it.
Oh, you'll be doing that forever.
But this is directly, by and large, lifted from Iron Halberd, which is another like OSR game,
right,
that I like. But it's a little more complicated than Karen is. Like, this PDF is what? How many pages? How many pages? Oh, it's 40 pages. Karen is 24.
Right.
And I think Karen spells out much better its mission statement at the beginning of like this wants agency, teamwork, exploration, talking, caution, planning, ambition. Which I like that as the mission statement spelled out really well.
Yeah.
I want to run this very similar to Chaos Scar. In fact, same setting. But I'm going to close this because otherwise I'll keep opening it. And then I'll just want to look at it over and over and over again. We're going to blow this up. So I want to utilize scars to implement retirement age.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been playing Wilder Myth on Bad at Games, and it has a retirement age system where your characters, because of like successful adventures, like successful side events, actually gain in their retirement age. Which is funny because in my primary group, my first group of characters, the fighters' retirement age keeps going down, but the wizards keeps going up.
Which, I mean, that makes sense because
it makes total sense. I love it.
You look at any like even in real life, like a person that works blue collar their entire life, their retirement age is like clear down to here because their body just can't handle it anymore. Well,
I kind of looked at it as like professional chess player versus professional football player.
Yep. Blue collar versus white collar. You can use your mind all day long, but start abusing your body.
Yeah, your body breaks down completely. Staying away from gods, pretty much. Using more nature spirits, yokai stuff, because I've been talking about wanting to use yokai forever, and now I really want to get into it. We're still working for a name for the thinning thing that the elves had a premonition of. Let's see, was there anything else I added to this from before last week? Doesn't look like it. Truce to the game. I know I haven't touched this in a little bit. The dead aren't buried, but are dealt with by people in a way where they can't rise again, since That is a frequent issue.
Okay.
To the thin membrane between the prime and the Shadowfell. They're yeeted into the forge. I kind of like that for like one. That might be a thing in like one of the cultures. They might be like, we put the ashes of the dead into our weapons. It's the way we honor and remember them. I love that idea. In fact, we're going to use that as an example.
That's how you get intelligent weapons.
Yeah, possibly. One culture, we're going to use your word, yeets their dead into their forges, so their ashes are imbued into the armor and weapons they make. They see this as both harnessing their power and honoring their history. I also like the idea with that, and I don't feel like I've used this well enough. I talk about it all the time, and I never do it. By the way, I just cut that off. It's like saying, "Tell me your story." Nope. Quality items should have a weight of a past history or a future tale, meaning weapons should be given names. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Spike, I love that. Like that to me is super cool. It's very evocative. It's interesting. And like, because I want to have time jumps, you could have your dude be like, I'm passing the axe granny to my son. It's fair.
That's the intelligent axe asking the question.
And with certain ceremonies, magic components, and the assistance of spirits, weapons can even be given the sentient spirits of the ancestors whose ashes it possesses. And one thing about that too is like, is that actually magic, or is this just the like zeitgeist belief, like that this is speaking to me?
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of this because I just used it in Chaos Scar.
Have you read this book?
I don't have that book, but I have a couple other like 5e style like crafting books.
That has a lot of good information in it. It's done by Nord Games.
Nord Games is great stuff.
So
it's fair. Trying to think about like what there were other things. So we do want to move this over the truth of the game. Time jumps. Put an bonus on the fact that time is always moving forward and characters are mortal. So care for age, retire, etc. And their legacies can be picked up by others.
Generational characters.
Yes. Which is a big thing in like Wildermyth.
Yep.
Like in my non-bad at games game for like version of that, one of the main characters, or two of the main characters, are together and they have two children who are both now part of their adventuring party.
Nice.
So one thing about that, like when you finish a big like adventure in that, it basically then says, and so many years have passed of peace. So your characters then visibly age.
Right.
And it kind of gives like a little thing of like, this is what your characters were doing in that time off. And I want to give the PCs the same thing in this. Like 3 years pass. What were your characters doing in that?
In this 3 years, what have you done?
Which would kind of do the same thing with that downtime thing, would give them the opportunity to be like, oh, we made this. You know, I did this. All right.
I started a business.
Yeah. So-and-so died. So I made them, you know, a cairn or whatever. So this is all more story-wise. So we're going to take this as well. Now we'll leave that in there because eventually I'll smash these two documents together probably. Are there things though we don't want? Like I'm staying away from Lovecraft this time, which is a big fight for me. I love using Lovecraft.
Gotta love Lovecraft.
I like using Far Realm stuff. But I want to stay away from it. Because I feel like I'm trying to stretch myself in the fact that I want to stay away from tropey shit tropes that I fall into all the time.
No dinosaurs, caveat, they can be skeletons. That's awesome.
I like the idea of like someone else came up with the name calling them like fossilizers. That there are like these wizards who that's their big thing is they just go around and they're like archaeologists, but would be paleontologists, but they just want the bones to make monsters. Okay. Sorry, I'm changing my music right now.
No, you're good.
Sir. I feel like I'm always on thin ice, so you know. I think I keep going back to Goblin Vampires because I used that in a podcast game years ago, and I didn't get to kind of see it to fruition that they were all like serving a hill giant vampire, but I just used vampires in Chaos Scar, so I got to pull back my desire to use that trope again. So I'm trying to think like what else I'm trying to stay away from. I think I want to use ghouls. Want to use
hags.
Yeah, I got hags in there, I think. Nope, it's on my other thing, but yeah, hags for sure. I'm trying to think of like those fairy tale-esque monsters. I just had one and it ran away from my brain. Let me look it up.
Big goddamn wolves.
Yeah. I want to use... I wonder if that's in Ravenloft. Is there a monster, D&D, who Dom Wolf begins to become wolves? Yes. Would it be wolf weirs then? I don't know.
You're thinking like the reverse of a werewolf. So where,
well,
like,
no, I'm thinking about like
wolves.
the whole thing of people who like don the skin of wolves and then become werewolves. Like they don't have lycanthropy.
So kind of more like a skinwalker.
Yes, maybe that's just what I'm thinking of. Dire wolves, and I want dire wolves to be intelligent. What's the wolf thing that talks in Neverending Story? That he has the conversation with. Hill giant lycanthropes would be really cool, though.
Gmork. Gmork.
Gmork. Maybe. I stress the word maybe, but I do kind of like.
Dude, that like the hill giant lycanthrope would be like the size of a goddamn house when he changed.
It is an interesting idea. D&D 5e Walker. Like I like the idea of there being like a cult or a subculture of people who do this. They wear skins,
right,
and then become wolves, and it's kind of like a,
I mean, you could even you can even take it one step further and just like not necessarily just wolves, but like any large,
carnivorous or predatory
animal like bears and big cats and.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's interesting to me, and it's something I have never used. And it appeals to me in a way.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun, and like you could even go as far as like that's their armor. So you could have like multiple sets of armor. Say like, oh hey, look, I'm going to wear this bear thing today. Be super tough, or go to and change. Like, okay, maybe I need something where I'm going to be more agile and put on a wolf suit.
All right. Yeah, that's. I don't know if it's a playable thing because it's 5e, but I like the idea of using it as a monster.
Yeah, I mean, you could just be a skinwalker variant or a changeling or shape changer variant, basically, where they're a shape changer with the caveat is you have to be wearing a skin in order to change into that shape.
I think it would be one of those things where a PC could potentially find it, but I want there to be this understanding, like there's incredibly high risk.
Right.
You put this on, and there's a high chance you completely lose yourself.
You lose yourself to the animal.
Yeah.
Like, well, what the hell is that? Almost book series. God damn it! It's like you can talk to wolves and basically like can dream as if a wolf, but in his dreams he has the potential of, since he's dreaming himself as a wolf, has the potential of losing himself to the beast.
Mm-hmm. I like the beast too. This idea of the beast being a constant underlying, like, overarching threat. Like everyone's like, oh, the beast, that there's this idea of like there's cults that worship the beast, or there's like, if you just like almost like possibly using the beast synonymously with like the Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
Which again leads me to almost Lovecraftian territory with Ithaqua. But maybe I'll put that in there as a another name for Interesting. Well, I've been at it for an hour and 40 or so. We got some stuff done. Brian, where can people find you? What are you up to?
Here, Chaos Scar, social medias. That's about it.
Chaos Guard 21st this month.
See, I was going to ask you about that because it says 9 in the
because because time is a flat circle and I no longer understand how months work. I changed it. Cassandra was like, "Did you mean 8/21?" I was like, "Yes."
Yes.
So yeah, not this Monday, but next Monday, Chaos Guard.
Gotcha.
I'll have to figure out some job options this week. And then tomorrow night, knock on wooden desk down in Outlands. I hope so, but we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Because everyone's been really, really, really busy lately, and there's been a lot going on for the players. I would like us to have our game, and I'm not going to run what will be the potentially last episode of the first season of Down Outlands without everybody being there. So it's just not cool. I wouldn't want someone to do that to me, so I'm not going to do it to them. So hopefully we'll all be on board for tomorrow night. That's the plan. And then next, I don't have any other games this week. I don't have anything else until Friday this week. Whoo, shocking. Bad at games. I don't know what we're doing. And then next Sunday will be back to prep school. I believe Colin is working on setting up the next Spoopy Boys. Monday Night D&D. Well, I mean, D&O, I mean, come on, the OG. Yes, I'm open for tomorrow as well. Then as soon as D&O goes on hiatus, that first Wednesday after, I will be running all out of bubblegum. And that's going to be a shit show, and it's going to be good. Because I won't know what the construct of the game will be until we get to play as soon as we start streaming, and then we will be rolling what the shitty 80s movie will be, what the confines of that will be, and we'll go from there. Like I said, I'm trying to set up a schedule where Monday nights are my gaming night on the channel. So it'll be like D&O, Chaos Scar, Take Me Home, Old Fay Road, maybe Star Wars, if I can finally pin everybody down for that. Because everybody wants to desperately play Star Wars, Powered by the Apocalypse Star Wars some more, but getting people to, like, I kind of would like to tie up the Scum and Villainy thing, and I promised somebody a final episode, part 7 of 3. But we haven't been able to nail down a time. And then from that point on, it'll turn more into a rotating cast game. But that would be like Mondays then would just be those games. And then one-shot Wednesdays occasionally, maybe once a month. And then Colin and I were talking, and Spoopy Boys might be twice a month, with one episode being shorter and being like we watch one movie ahead of time and talk about it. Like the movie we were talking about doing that for was Bloody Muscle, the first one, Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell, which is a Japanese Evil Dead ripoff that I've never seen, but I've always heard amazing things about. I've heard it's just insane. And then going, okay, then the long episode, like the 2-hour episode, will be, here's a genre of horror that we want to squeeze down and talk about, like we have with Lycanthropy Media and like we did last Thursday with folk horror. Which, as we were walking yesterday, we discussed how we really just scratched scratched the surface of folk horror when we spoke about. There's so much other folk horror that we could easily dig into and discuss and talk about what we enjoy and what we don't. So keep throwing out your ideas for Spoopy Boys, because we both appreciate it a lot and have enjoyed it. But yeah, until then, hopefully Monday night, hopefully tomorrow night, we'll play some D&O. So thank you guys. Thank you, Brian. Thank you to Matt, who's barbering so hard right now. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for coming in and hanging out and adding to our just weird comic book clusterfuck. And then to Take Me Home. Yeah. Have a good rest of your weekend. Super Spike. I believe it was Super Spike. Now I gotta go check. If you go back in the chat here and see who was mowing in Tennessee, because I think that's Super Spike. Yep, Super Spike. Super Spike, hydrate. Take care of yourself. Get out the sun. All right. Everybody else, have a good one. And we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night. Bye.
Later.